Is money the root of all evil? No. Do people actually believe that particular lie? Yes. Are there other common things that people say all the time about money that are just plain toxic? Absolutely. I hate to break it to you, but there are a lot of phrases and sayings that we share with family and friends every day that are the equivalent of taking a chisel to our money mindset. Little by little, bit by bit, those things chip away at our ability to view money as a positive part of our lives. And as the negativity grows in our subconscious, our actions begin to line up with them, causing us to allow wealth to slip through our fingers, even if we're not quite sure why we're doing it. That's why today I'm calling out some common sayings that are so toxic to your money mindset that they're actually keeping you broke. Hey dreamers, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiana Clewis, an author, speaker, executive pastor, and coach who's made it her mission to help Christian women trapped in the 9-to-5 life overcome the money worries that are stopping them from stepping full-time into their God-given calling. And now that you know who I am, I do have to ask you a quick question. Has anyone ever told you to charge what you're worth? And did you fight it deep down on the inside? The reality is that for most Christian women, the idea of treating their business like a business feels dirty, unholy, or sacrilegious. Even though you know God wants to prosper you and can use that business to do so, you keep discounting your prices or accommodating unreasonable demands just to help out a fellow Christian. It's time for you to meet Siobhan Ragsdale, a minister and serial entrepreneur with an intimate knowledge of that particular internal war. As a person who once battled with pricing, enforcing contracts, and seeing business positively through the eyes of the kingdom, she knows all too well what you're experiencing. And now that she's on the other side, she's ready to help you finally win that mental war. That's why we're elated to have Siobhan joining us at our first annual Ambitious Dreamers, The Pouring, on Saturday, October 1st. So if you're ready to end the internal conflict between being a good Christian and a smart entrepreneur, join Siobhan, our all-star roster of speakers, and myself at The Pouring by registering now at www.thepouring.life. Okay, now enough with the promo, let's jump into the video. Money doesn't grow on trees. I thought I would start out with the saying that I myself am guilty of using, especially with my kids. It's one that's been said probably by every adult in my family and in yours as well. But when I really stopped to think about it, I realized just how problematic this saying actually is. When I said that money doesn't grow on cheese. If money grew on cheese, that would be awkward. When I say that money doesn't grow on trees, I'm saying that money is a hard to find, non-renewable resource. Because the things that grow on trees, the leaves and the branches, you can find them pretty much anywhere. Whether you live in a heavily wooded area, manicured suburb, or a heavily populated city, you can find leaves and branches anywhere you look. Even in the desert, because yes, there are trees that can survive the desert sun. So if leaves and branches are everywhere, they're abundant. And if money isn't like leaves and branches, that means that money isn't abundant. Or at least that's how our minds translate the phrase. The reality is that money is abundant and it is a renewable resource. Remember, money is just a medium of exchange, a way of assigning value and easily conducting a transaction. It's not finite because it's not actually tied to anything, so more money can always be created. But how do we create a scenario where more money needs to be created? Well, it happens all the time. As technology changes, so does the way we live our lives. I remember when laptops didn't exist, but now they're practically a necessity. And now that we all have tablets and laptops and smartphones, we can shop online, watch ads on YouTube, and meet new companies to collaborate with. We can work remotely. We can build a brand new consulting firm with clients around the world. We can self-publish a book on a revolutionary new idea, or we can invent a brand new product that changes our daily lives just the same way that the laptop and the computer did. All I'm saying is that as we create more products and services, the money seems to always appear for people to buy them. The economy grows and people get paid. Well, you can be part of that too. But if you don't believe that money grows on trees, that it's abundant and renewable, you're gonna miss out on your opportunity to make more of it every time. Blessed are the poor. Now, I will admit that the word toxic is a little bit harsh for this particular saying, simply because it's an actual factual saying from the Bible in every version. Jesus Christ did say in his Sermon on the Mount that the poor are blessed. However, when people take the Bible out of context, they can easily twist the meaning of what God's word is saying and transform it into something toxic, which people do with this saying all the time. The reality is that when Jesus was declaring the poor blessed, he was specifically referring to the poor of his time that were choosing to believe in him as the Messiah. In fact, his reverse statement to the rich of that time also had a specific connotation of you rich, not all rich. Now, Jesus said these things back then because the poor were being abused, conned, and taken advantage of by many of the wealthy elite, including those of their own religion. The wealthy were using bad contracts to steal homes, charging massive amounts of interest on much-needed debts, and tricking people out of their earnings for false religious needs. Sound familiar? So with that in mind, this saying becomes toxic because so many believe that a life of poverty equals blessedness, when that's not what Jesus was saying at all. As people who were suffering and being manipulated by the religious leaders, the poor of his time had every reason to reject him as the Messiah. But instead, they sought him out. They believed in God and in him in spite of their struggles, their circumstances, and every argument that their leaders were making against him. They loved him in spite of all these reasons to reject him, and for that, they were blessed. So don't assume that just because someone doesn't have money that they're somehow more blessed than other people. Their lack of finances may be a tool God is using to get their attention, or it may be a spiritual stronghold that can only be overcome through fasting, prayer, and transforming how they live their life. After all, Jesus said he came so that we could live more abundantly, not struggling to pay bills. You can do it! And hey, let me stop to remind you to like the video by clicking the like button if you like the video. Yeah, that thing. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow the channel by clicking the big red button below. All right, let's keep moving. Money doesn't buy happiness. This is one of those sayings that honestly can go either way depending on how you decide to use it. When you see that someone is throwing away relationships and their health for the sake of making more and more money, this is absolutely an appropriate saying to use. However, there are many people who use this saying to dismiss or even mock the efforts of those who are working hard to build wealth for their families. Yes, I'll admit we can be a little stressed out sometimes, and yes, we may miss a game or two, but in general, we're present for our families and friends while also making a lot of money. It may have stretched us a little bit thinner at times, but that's only because we believe in spending time with our loved ones and working hard on securing their financial present and future. That's why I do things like, scheduling an hour and a half of Minecraft time with my kiddos in the middle of my workday, because that allows me to get work done and still be present. But here's the thing, I have personally heard well-meaning people who love me toss this phrase my way as if they were questioning my priorities in life. They were trying to be helpful, but they didn't realize that they were throwing out a limiting belief that would have blocked the growth of my wealth had I not embraced it. Because no, money doesn't buy happiness, but you know what it does buy? Choices, experiences, financial peace of mind, and freedom. When I bought my car, I had free reign in the dealership to pick what I pleased. I walked around, looked at features and colors, considered building one of my own, and I walked about without the anxiety that I was gonna fall in love with something I couldn't afford. So once my eyes fell on a royal blue BMW 228 dead smack in the middle of the showroom floor, I could run my hands over the chocolate interior and just say yes to the dealer without flinching. And when my kids said they wanted to do some beach-related things this summer, we were able to book a nice Airbnb condo close to the beach. We booked whatever excursions we wanted and created so many fun memories that my kids want to go back, even if it is just to chase some roosters around the island of Kauai.
Is that a chicken?
I don't know what that is. Maybe?
It was drinking the water off the leaf.
And when we realized that some of our kids needed a little more help academically or emotionally, we were able to afford every doctor, appointment, and program that they needed without worry. So no, money doesn't buy happiness, but it gives you more freedom and options for creating that happiness instead. Everybody ain't able. Okay, I know that not all of you have heard this one, but my husband and I have heard it so many times from the Black community specifically that I couldn't leave it off of the list. The truth is that I have never heard anyone say everybody ain't able in a loving, encouraging, or helpful manner. I've always heard it said with some snark, a bit of sarcasm, and a whole heap of disdain. It's always filled with an air of lucky you for being able to do X, Y, Z, but not everyone has that ability or opportunity. And that's true. Not everyone has all the same abilities and opportunities in life. But the reason I find this phrase so toxic isn't because of the fact that it's like super judgy and hateful, but because it dismisses the truth that you can eventually have a similar level of success yourself. Beautiful thing about being in America is that you have the power to gain new abilities and create new opportunities for yourself. If you get on the internet, you can build a business, or you can join a program that will help you land a higher paying job. The success is out there. You just have to figure out your unique path to achieving it. And since we don't all start with an even playing field, it will absolutely be harder for some of you than others. You may have friends that can help you connect with a business coach, while someone else may have to save up money for weeks or months to make the investment. One person may have an in at the company that's hiring, while you may need to do some LinkedIn work to get the company to notice you. Your path may be harder than someone else's, but that doesn't render it impossible. So no, at the moment, everybody isn't able, but if the person does the work, makes the sacrifices, and discovers that how they can best serve others, they just might be able to one day. More money, more problems. Now, I've always hated this saying simply because I found it to be very belittling to those who didn't have a lot of money. It felt dismissive to me, as if the problems of the 98% were petty in comparison to the elites. Because heaven forbid you have to take the BMW instead of the Bentley to the private jet. Now, I may not have Bentley money yet, but I have enough to say more money doesn't equal more problems. More money just is different problems. I realize that while some families are figuring out how to pay for soccer and school supplies this year, others are trying to figure out whether to save cousin Ed's business or risk losing the relationship forever. When one couple is shopping around for a car for the growing family, another is shopping around for an estate planner to help avoid an all-out war between their siblings if they happen to die unexpectedly. More money, different problems. But the more money, more problems farce is projected all over the media. How many movies or TV shows have you watched where a reasonably happy person with no coins has to help cheer up or even do battle with the miserable rich person who feels trapped in their world of wealth? It's like society is screaming at you that it's not okay to be wealthy and happy at the same time. This essentially gives you permission to stay broke and not build wealth for you or your family. After all, why would you want to get money and inherit more problems when the problems you already have are a pain in the butt? And who wants to pass on more problems to their kids? I don't. And while you may never say it out loud, a part of you may very well be thinking this at times. I know I was. But like I said, more money doesn't mean you're going to have more problems. You're going to have different types of problems than the ones that you had before, and that's okay. It's like any other transition in your life. When you went from a high school kid to a college kid, problems changed. From a single woman to a committed wife, problems changed. And when you went from your first job to the second job, problems changed. So as you build wealth, expect the problems to change because that's simply how life works. And the next time you hear someone say more money, more problems, shake your head and say, no, 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 boo. More money, different problems. Give me some water. Okay, ladies, there you have it. Common toxic sayings that will leave you broke if you're not careful. I easily could have kept going because there are so many sayings out there, it's kind of scary. Almost makes me feel like I should share some positive money sayings too, just to offset it all. Matter of fact, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video for sayings that are great for your mindset. And you know me, if you guys want it, I will definitely mix up my plan to make it happen. With that, don't forget to sign up for the Pouring Conference, our very first live event happening Saturday, October 1st, right here in the DFW area. Just head to www.thepouring.life to buy your ticket and some swag to go along with it. But first, let me know that you found this video useful by hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing by clicking the big red button below. Be sure to hit the bell so that you're notified each week when I drop brand new money tips and biblical strategies to help you break through your financial barriers so you can step big, bad, and boldly into your God-given calling full time. With that, I'm going to go record a video for a nonprofit and, well, I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.